Hello everyone, and welcome to Heavy Debriefings. This is Josh Runquist here, and this is a very special video made out of spite. I was told that I should make this video in a response to another video focusing on breakup videos in the rock and metal worlds, and I decided to put my own little twist on that spite and try to make this as sad as possible. This is a day where love is in the air for some and despair for the others, so why not focus on the latter for a change? And I'm here to talk about the 10 saddest breakup songs. Basically, all that goes into this is it a song about breaking up? Is it the song of a ending relationship? Is it about the pain that comes from the ending of that relationship? And my own little twist, does it hit me here? And if it does, it probably made this list, and if not, well, there's other songs that I could potentially do this with. But hey, enough of that dilly-dally. Let's get into number 10. And at number 10, I have My Dying Bride with Love's Intolerable Pain. And Love's Intolerable Pain is one of those songs where, yeah, it's about the feeling of loving someone so hard, so deep, so slow, if you want to go typo negative about it, and the pain that comes from the relationship ending. And why not have the masters of Death Doom and Funeral Doom, My Dying Bride, describe it for you in agonizing detail? This over 6-minute long song is one of those songs that is one of the faster songs in the My Dying Bride discography, but it's no less crushing. It hits you hard lyrically, the music is superb. It's just one of those songs that is kind of underrated in a weird sense. But then again, My Dying Bride, unless you're really into that Death Doom and Funeral Doom style, they are an underrated band. It hits you hard. If you pay attention to lyrics, it may leave you with a tear in your eye. And that's why it shows up here at number 10. At number 9 is Losing You by Dead by April, off their self-titled album. On this one, yeah, I feel like Dead by April is such a dangerously and criminally underrated band here in America. I feel like if they were from America, they'd be the biggest band around. I mean, you got your Asking Alexandria, you got Falling in Reverse, you got those type of bands that really hit that modern metal kind of sound. But Dead by April does it in a way that a lot of other bands can't seem to do, with authenticity. And Losing You is a great example of that, where, it's pretty much laid out right in front of you. It's a song about losing the one you love. And, that can hit in so many different ways, whether it's just the end of a relationship, death, you knowing that you have to end it. There's so many different ways that you can look at it, and it's about the pain that it leaves behind. And when it's done with that modern metal tinge, it hits home for the younger fan bases out there, yet it also hits home for me. And wow, did that feel weird saying I'm no longer in the young fan base. Time is a fleeting thing. Time is fleeting. This is a great song if you're willing to give modern metal a chance. And I would say that just with Dead by April in general. Every single one of their albums is so enjoyable. And even if you don't like the new wave of metal and you're one of those cranky old folks who just seem to not get into today's dang nabbit music, just give it a shot. Leave your preconceived notions behind. At number 8 is one of the most heart-wrenching songs ever made. My apologies. It is Converge, with the title track off the album Jane Doe. The whole album is just about how terrible relationships can be for one reason or another. Yet it also talks about the great love that can come along with it. And especially when you look at title tracks like Homewrecker, I think you can kind of tell where the state of mind of this album is all about. Jane Doe is basically the culmination of the entire album, not only coming in at 11.5 minutes, but it wraps up the entire story where you just have to leave. No matter how hard a relationship is, in one way or the other, with all the pain that it can build up, if it's just not going in the right direction, if it's going in a horrible direction, like what happens in Jane Doe, you have to leave. And it's one of the hardest things that people, some people can never realize that that is an option. They realize that they can't do it. Listen to Jane Doe. Listen to the entire album. And you might realize you might need to do that yourself. Sorry to say that on Valentine's Day, but you might not be in a good relationship. You might need to go. And yeah, why don't you listen to Jane Doe if you can appreciate the first wave of metalcore, which is what I call it. The first wave metalcore, yeah. Jane Doe hits it all in stride, and even though it is one of the most chaotic albums out there, it is emotionally heart-wrenching. Give it a try. Coming in at number 7 is Angra, with Bleeding Heart, off the album Hunters and Prey. Yes, this is another one where you are just left emotionally devastated after a breakup. And it's so weird to hear that in the progressive power metal arena. I mean, there's songs about heartache, of course. There's many more songs about love as well when it comes to power metal. But Angra does it again with such authenticity that you just can't deny it. There's other songs, of course, but I feel like Bleeding Heart is the best example from Angra when it comes to such a thing. The lyrics are devastating, the music behind it is beautiful and catchy. It's an underrated song by all things you can look at it for. Sorry, I'm kind of lost in my words when I'm thinking about this song because it is one of those where you do get lost in it. Yeah, especially if you've ever had your heart broken, this is a song that's for you if you enjoy some progressive power metal from Brazil. And, just check out Angra in general. Coming in at number 6 is Sentenced. And wow, there's a lot of songs I could have chose from this list, but I had to go with the one that probably won't push people over the edge, I guess is the nicest way I can put it. It's the song No More Beating Is One, off the album Crimson. And yeah, I think the title pretty much describes it. I mean, it's about looking back at a past relationship and realizing that you're not together anymore. For one reason or another, especially considering it's sentenced, it's a devastating song. It can rip you to shreds, like most sentence songs can, whether it's about death, whether it's about mental health reasons, your own sanity, or in this case, a failed relationship. And especially when you are so attached, and you look back at how much it can hurt you, this is a song that can pretty much match your feelings perfectly. Yeah, this is a very underrated song from a very underrated band. Highly recommend checking out Sentenced. And of course the song No More Beating Is One. Coming in at number 5, I am here to piss off a lot of people. It's like, why would you put them on here? They're not rock. They're not metal. They're love metal. Well, I still enjoy about half of the discography. It's him, with Heartache Every Moment, off the album Deep Shadows and Brilliant Highlights. This is one of the more underrated him albums. Like, I never really hear anyone talk about this one, and it's one of the standout songs off of the album. And again, I only like about half of their discography. The other half is too alternative for me, and I enjoy myself some good alternative rock and alternative metal, but I prefer him when they have the metal tinges, and this song is filled with that. Him is so filled with, like, finding love, being in love forever. This song is not that. It is, the end of a failed relationship, once again, and just the heartache that comes with it, all of the pain, the struggle that comes with being with the person that you're still in love with after being left for one reason or another. Ville Valo, he's able to hit those notes so good, and if you take away your preconceived notions about him and just give this particular song a chance, I think you'll understand what I'm talking about here. Don't get me wrong, it is a him song. It still hits you in that love metal way, whether you find it emo cheesy or annoying if you already don't like that style. But for me, it hits me really hard. And it's a song that I think everyone can relate to. And yeah, that's why it's here at number 5, with him and Heartaches Every Moment. Coming in at number 4 is a song that kind of hits me more and more with age. And it is the kind of song that can hit you in so many different ways. You can take it so many different directions, but off of Killswitch Engage 2, even though it's still a self-titled album, but it's the second self-titled album from Killswitch Engage, and the song Starting Over. It is the song that where it's over, but you don't want it to be over, and you want to be able to keep it going. You want, I made a mistake, let's start this over. I'm sorry for everything I've done. I can't let you leave me. Please stay. Please, please stay. And, that can work in a relationship, that can work with friendship, that can work with work. Bands is another situation where I've dealt with that so many times. And the more that I keep looking back at my life, the more this song just hits me harder and harder as years go by. And of course, when you got the magnificent Howard Jones on vocals, how could you not feel this? And of course, with second wave metalcore, which is what I call it, you don't have to. Some call it the new wave of American heavy metal. Some just call it metalcore. I call it second wave metalcore. You should too. Hashtag second wave metalcore. Killswitch just always seems to hit it perfectly, whether it's with Howard, whether it's with Jesse. It just works. And off the criminally underrated second self-titled album, which maybe wouldn't be so underrated if it wasn't reusing a name that they already had. I don't know, that's a conversation for another time, but yes, check out Starting Over from Killswitch Engage, especially if you're hurting. It might let out some emotions that you really need. Number 3 is I Don't Believe in Love by Queensryche off Operation Mindcrime, and the whole album is dealing with heartache and relationships and trying to find love and keep that love going, but sometimes you need to be smacked across the face with the message, and that's what's going on here. Is there any incel looking person like myself who hasn't been affected by I Don't Believe in Love? If you're a progressive metal fan, if you were a fan of music from the late 80s, early 90s, and you heard this song and you had your heart broken, or you got turned down for a date, or you just look at yourself in the mirror and you think you're unlovable, yeah, this is a very relatable song. And I know so many times in my life when I've tried to ask people out and I got turned down, or I've had successful dates but then realized it wasn't going to work out, or other relationships where other people were like, hey, it's either you or him and I don't know what to do. I said go with them, because if you have to choose between two of us rather than being with me, go with the other person. I don't want to be an option. But that's just me. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but yes, Queensryche, I Don't Believe in Love. The lyrics are so relatable if you've ever been in pain from a broken relationship. Seriously, give it a shot. Number 2 can be technically 2 songs, technically 1 song, but it's Untouchable by Anathema off of Weather Systems. It is technically 2 tracks, so I guess I can kind of look at this as I'm just looking at part 1, even though I'm going to talk about part 2 as well. It is, well, when you look at it at face value, it is the song about, I don't want you to leave. But then realizing that you have to accept it. And I think that's been one of the hardest things in my life when it comes to people. Over the last several years, I've been much better at it. But for so much of my life, I don't know if clingy is the right word, but I didn't want people to leave my life. And I would try to do anything I could to make them stay. Whether it's friends, relationships, bands, even family. But sometimes you just have to look at yourself in the mirror. Sometimes you just have to look back on situations and realize that not only do you not deserve it, but they don't deserve it either. And, just like the song says, I had to let you go into the setting sun. Now, you can look at that as, the setting sun of the past, or you can also look at it from the more devastating side where, I have to let those memories die because they have died and I got to move on. Both ways work. I don't think either way of looking at that is wrong. And especially when you look at Untouchable Part 2, when you look at it from the other side of the relationship, it does lean more with the former, where it's just like the end of a relationship, but it can still work with trying to let someone go who has passed on. You can keep those memories, but you gotta move on. Either way you want to look at it, that's gonna make you grab for a tissue and make you cry, go for it. I think the music's gonna do that in and of itself, but hey, throw this on. And Anathema's just gonna make you cry regardless, especially with their later albums, maybe not so much The Optimist, but from We're Here Because We're Here, Weather Systems, and Distant Satellites, that stretch, and especially the album Judgment, yeah, give yourself a good cry. And finally at number 1, what do I feel is the most devastating, saddest breakup song? Well, if you know me, this should be no shock to you whatsoever. It is Woods of Ypres with Shards of Love off of Woods 4, the Green Album. Not only is this a sad song, not only is this a devastating song about realizing that there's one side that wants to keep the relationship going, that doesn't want it to end, and the other side has already emotionally moved on and realizes it's for the best that they're no longer together. Not only do the tones of the song, the strings that accompany it, David Gould's vocals, where you can hear that heart-wrenching pain, especially on the last 2 albums from Woods of Ypres, really show up here. Not only on Woods 4 is it basically all breakup songs in one way or the other, or dealing with either death of relationships, death of people, or just the breakup of love. Not only all of those things, this is the first song off the album. So it already makes you start crying from the beginning. And it arguably gets lighter in the emotions, but it also arguably gets sadder in the emotions as it moves along as well. And there's other arguments to be made for that, but really when you look at it from this perspective, it already starts off with the biggest gut punch you could possibly have. And when you think about someone that you love, that you moved in together with, and you built a relationship with, you built a life with, and you realize all of the good times that you've had, you also got to think about the bad times as well. And sometimes the juice is just simply not worth the squeeze. This song tears me up every single time I hear it. Woods of Ypres make me tear up every single time I hear them. And I can't listen to them for my own enjoyment anymore. I basically can only listen to it when I need a good cry. Although some exceptions do apply, like if I listen to a song at a time. And when I put together the Spotify playlist, which you can check out in the description below, Shards of Love is easily, without question, in my humblest of humble opinions, the saddest breakup song in rock and metal. And I would even dare say, the saddest breakup song ever. And there you go, folks. If you are checking out some new music for the first time and you like anything that you heard, tell me what songs stick out to you. If I left anything off, or if you just want to tell me how wrong I am for my own personal opinion, tell me in the comments below. Of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff if you actually enjoy what I do. And of course, until my next interview, review, top 10 video, or anything else that I put up on the Heavy Debriefings channel for Heavy Debriefings, this is Josh Runquist saying, see ya.